At Kroger Pharmacy, care is what's most convenient for you. Care is being here when you need us. We're open evenings and weekends. Care is helping you save more. Most insurance plans and discount cards are accepted at your local Kroger Pharmacy. Care is saving you time by managing your prescriptions online. You can request refills, check order status, and more. Care is convenience that works for everyone. Kroger Health, a world of care is in store. Services and availability vary by location. Age and other restrictions may apply. For coverage, consult your health insurance company. Visit the pharmacy or our site for details.
You're listening to the Health Courage Collective podcast, episode 44, The Ultimate Game We Are Playing. Hey there, do you have a great idea for a topic I should cover on the podcast? I would love to hear from you. Click the link in the show notes and tell me what you think I should talk about next. Welcome to the Health Courage Collective podcast, the show for women who are too busy to slog through hours of generalized, inapplicable, and often contradictory health information, but too smart to ignore that a few minutes of focused attention now can prevent years of suffering in the future. I'm your host, Christina Hackett, a pharmacist who doesn't want you to live on prescriptions, a certified coach specifically trained to maximize your potential, and a compulsive learner obsessed with preventative, cutting-edge, holistic, and integrative medicine. I'm on a mission to increase your physical and mental resilience so you can fearlessly look forward to your next 40-plus limitless years. Your time is now. Let's go. Hello and welcome. Thank you for being here today. I really appreciate it. I hope you're doing great. How has your week been? How is your intestinal permeability? Have you been thinking about it? Maintaining the health of your gut wall is an important way to keep all of your cells firing on all cylinders by decreasing your chronic low-grade inflammation and thereby avoiding the common diseases of aging. I want that for you because I know that you can be more effective at giving your greatest gifts and service to the world for so many years to come if you don't have to drain your time, energy, and precious brain juice managing a bunch of medical conditions. Of course, we all have challenges, and there's nothing wrong with you if you do, but it's possible to make things easier on yourself in the future. I've been planning on trying to build out a way to really help smart women like you more effectively do this in a truly meaningful way. I know there's a ton of information floating around, a lot of which is contradictory, and it's hard to know what is best, or whether something that's great for someone else is the best thing for your body. Then on top of that, I know that the most important part of being able to give your future self the gift of good health is by acting now. Acting. Learning interesting things is fine, important even, but only if you put it into action consistently. I've been mulling this over for a while, like too long, really. Let's be honest, I've been indulging in a little bit of overwhelm, but I'm super excited to be rolling forward with a program that will get the clients who enroll permanent results. I'm not sure exactly what it will end up being because I need help creating it. It will adapt to the needs of real women as it grows. I'm looking for a limited number of people to help me build something that will be truly world-class. I know it will need to evolve as it goes along, and that's why I need your feedback and brain power along the way. I have the skeleton framed out in my mind, and I'm so thrilled with how it's coming together. It's so fun to be constantly flooded with ideas of how to make it awesome. This is my lifelong dream, to help people not need to take medications. As my 12-year-old would say, it's going to be epic. So, if you're listening to this in May of 2022 and it piques your curiosity, or you know of someone who might be interested in getting and staying in the best health of their life at a cellular level, please get on the interest list now. There's a link in the show notes to get on the list. Please consider passing it on to anyone you know who could use a coach in their corner who believes in them fiercely and will hold them accountable as they cheer them on. It will be a fun 12 weeks of moving from being an intelligence analyst hiding behind a desk to becoming a field operative who fearlessly puts that intelligence into action to create lasting results. And of course, there will be a very special price incentive for founding members. Okay, back to the regularly scheduled episode. If I were to come up to you on the street and ask you what the ultimate game you're playing is, what would you say? Would you have an answer right away, or would you have to give it some thought? It's kind of a deep meaning of life examination. For me, my thoughts would immediately go to my life after this mortal life is over. I believe that death on earth isn't the end, and that what we do while we're here matters both now and after we die. Whether you share that belief or not, what is your big picture? What are you ultimately here to do? What does playing that game well even look like? This is something that Brian Johnson talks a lot about in the Optimized by Heroic Coach training program. That's one of my coach certifications. I'm working on a level 2 Heroic Coach certification with him right now. He says that the answer from both ancient wisdom and modern science is the same. The ancient wisdom comes from Aristotle, who says that the summum bonum, or greatest good in life, is to live with eudaimonia, which is a word that translates loosely as happiness or better as flourishing. So the summum bonum is to flourish. This is where modern science comes into play. The godfather of the positive psychology movement, Martin Seligman, through his own research concludes that what we seek as humans is to flourish. He also wrote a book called Flourish. To flourish is to express the very best version of ourselves as often as possible. What do you think? Do you agree with Aristotle and Seligman? Is the greatest good to become the best version of ourselves? How might we go about accomplishing that? Aristotle says to live with arete, which translates as excellence or virtue. So if we live with arete, we are expressing the best version of ourselves. We are in reality being who we are capable of being. I've mentioned in the past Abraham Maslow's saying that what one can be, one must be. It's in his hierarchy of needs for humans. What one can be, one must be. Martin Seligman's research says the same thing. The way to be the best version of yourself is to live with virtue. There is a virtues in action assessment that you can take for free to see what your top 5 out of 24 virtues are. It's based on Martin Seligman's work. I'll put a link in the show notes. It's a fun quiz to take. I encourage you to do it. I think there are some universal virtues that lead to flourishing, but we each have our own values and virtues that are our idiosyncratic strengths, and we will be genuinely happier if we honor and allow ourselves to express those virtues, because it's part of who we really are. My top strength is the most boring sounding one of all 24, but it's also totally true, so. Hey there! I wanted to quickly interrupt and let you know that it's so much less of a struggle to consistently dominate your health choices when the thoughts you think naturally nudge you toward what you're trying to achieve. If you're looking to more consistently rock your healthy behaviors, I have a completely free 18-minute mini course for smart women like you who know that sometimes a quick mind flip can go a long way. Click the link in the show notes or go to healthcourage.ck/page/mini for this free mini course on 6 thoughts people who consistently rock their health choices think, and start putting one of them to good use inside your head today. Okay, so take a minute to think through what you thought of as the ultimate game you're playing. Does it match up with this ancient wisdom and modern science? Becoming the best version of you? Expressing that version on a consistent basis? Is there anything missing? I hope so, because what's the point of you being your best self? Living your best life, as they say. Is it so you can post a picture of your abs next to your Ferrari in front of your mansion? Some people think so. This isn't the community for them. I think you'll agree with me that the reason to strive to be your very best is so that you have more to give in service to the world. To use the strength that you have painstakingly trained to lift someone who feels beaten down, to protect someone who can't protect themselves, to care about something other than yourself, to leave the world a better place. That joyful sense of flourishing, that's also hard work, that's the ultimate game we're playing. That's what Optimized by Heroic is all about, and if you haven't yet, you might be interested in checking out the Heroic app that's built around this end goal. Okay, so our ultimate game, in a general sense, is to express the best version of ourselves as often as possible by living with virtue, so that we can develop strength that we can deploy in service to the world. Do you agree with this? It's okay if you don't. I'm kind of putting words in your mouth here. But I think it's a pretty good summary of what ancient wisdom and modern science says is the path to genuine joy. This is all good to know, but it doesn't have anything to do with your physical health, right? Or does it? What is the ultimate game you're playing in terms of your physical health? Have you given it much thought? I don't think most people have. This is step 1 in the Health Courage program I'm designing. Most people spend more time planning a party than they do planning their health habits or their life. We want to make healthy choices. We try and not skip our workout. We drink something disgusting because our sister's friend's yoga teacher said it would prevent cancer or whatever. But we're not even clear on what our end game is. We have the best of intentions, but when we do some things that promise to help us live as long as possible, some things meant to make us strong, some things to help us lose weight, some to prevent heart disease, and others to avoid environmental toxins, we get kind of chaotic and scattered. Yes, all of those things are probably healthy for us, but when we're not clear on the game we're playing, we're not as consistent on all of those things as we could be on what actually moves the needle for us. We're more prone to waste money on products that we think might help and simultaneously less likely to benefit from them because we're not focused on creating a specific effect. I would encourage you to give some thought to the ultimate health game you're playing. What does health mean to you? Is it just the absence of disease? I hope not. I'd love for you to join me for a deep dive into it, but just some basic clarity around this can go a long way. What effect are you trying to create? Is it to put on as much muscle as possible? Is it weight loss at any cost? Is it austere avoidance of every imaginable toxin? Is it having no wrinkles at all? It's fine if that's what they are, but if not, maybe you don't need to be pulled out to all of those different extremes. Maybe you can create a plan for you based on what's important to you and ignore all the other nonsense. And here's the secret. It's not actually that complicated. Yes, our bodies are fascinatingly complex in ways that even the smartest people on earth don't even understand, and there's always more to learn, but you can realistically architect and embody the version of you that you most want to be. One of my favorite quotes about how to do this is from the ancient Stoic Seneca. He said, quote, "How much better to pursue a straight course and eventually reach that destination where the things that are pleasant and the things that are honorable finally become for you the same." End quote. How great is that? The things that are pleasant and the things that are honorable finally become the same. You can employ your virtues and strengths to deliberately design a life where the things that you crave and that satisfy you and that are most fun and authentically enjoyable are the same things that are the best for you. No more incessant mind chatter or, air quote, giving in, or just feeling like you're constantly arm wrestling yourself into submission. Seneca talks about fortifying your pertinacity until the will to do good becomes the disposition to do good. Pertinacity is like stubbornness. So it does take some consistent work, but it can be genuinely fun work to do to transmute your will to do good into a disposition to do good. Okay, back to my question a few minutes ago. Do you think your physical health and the game you're playing there has anything to do with the ultimate total life game you're playing? Can you show up as your best self moment to moment and use your strength in service to something greater than yourself if your physiology is suffocating? Obviously, we all work within the constraints of our reality, and people with some huge health problems have done some mind-blowingly amazing things. I'm thinking about like Stephen Hawking and Special Olympians and Para-Olympians, and well, the list is really long. But if you're acting in ways that undermine your health, the impact you can have on the world will be limited. I love the quote from Joshua Rosenthal that says, "Health is a vehicle, not a destination." We're not going to all of this effort just so that we can sit back and bask in the knowledge that our mitochondria are working well, or show people our blood glucose numbers. No matter what everyone who's trying to sell us something says, health is not the end goal. It's the vehicle that helps us get to the end goal. It's because taking care of our health now hooks our future self up with energy, stamina, mental clarity, willpower, and a good attitude. It saves us money and worry and time. There's another quote from George Hebert that says, "Être fort pour être utile." Sorry, that sounds bad. I did take French in high school, though. It means be fit to be useful. Not be fit to look good, or be fit to make other people jealous, or be fit because everybody else says you should. Who cares what everyone else says? As you consider the ultimate game you're playing in this one wild, beautiful life of yours, make sure it's really the game you want to be playing. In his book, Win Forever, Peter Carroll tells a story about Jerry Garcia. When I first heard this, shh, don't tell my husband, I didn't know who Jerry Garcia was. In case you're with me there, he was the lead guitarist, vocalist, and songwriter in The Grateful Dead. Peter Carroll says, I remember hearing an interview with Jerry Garcia. I can't remember exactly what question the interviewer asked him, but it was something along the lines of, how do you feel about being possibly the greatest rock and roll band of all time? A classic softball question. But rather than responding with the usual fluff, Jerry said something I'll never forget. No, man, he answered, ever so relaxed. That's not how we think of ourselves at all. We don't want to be the best ones doing something. We want to be the only ones doing it. End quote. So, I'll leave you with that. You don't want to be the best one at the ultimate game you're playing. You want to be the only one playing that game. That's what this world needs from you. For you to show up with intensity and make the world better in the way that only you can. Thank you so much for being here today. Click the link in the show notes if you're considering joining me, moving from analyzing health intelligence to becoming an operative who puts intelligence into action. Then pack your bags because next week we're going on a Vegas getaway. Until then, get clear on the ultimate game you're playing and don't be normal. Thank you so much for tuning into the Health Courage Collective podcast. I am truly honored that you have paid me the enormous compliment of your time and attention. I would be so grateful if you would share this podcast with someone you know and subscribe so you never miss an episode. This podcast is for entertainment and information purposes only. Statements and views on this podcast are not medical advice. This podcast, including Christina Hackett and producers, disclaim responsibility for any possible adverse events by use of information contained herein. If you think you have a medical problem, consult a licensed physician.